So let's talk about what it means to be a Sunday morning ProPresenter operator. Gonna need to know a few things. The first thing that we're gonna check for is that we're in the right playlist, right? And that both computers have the same playlist in the same position. We only have just the one. All right, the next thing is that calendar. So we're gonna go to View, Calendar, and we're gonna see that this is where we have announcements and pre-service are gonna happen automatically. Announcements are gonna go at 9:40, and our pre-service, which is our countdown right here, is gonna happen at 9:40:02. So you can assign, based on a time, what it's going to fire. So I set it to opening announcements. You can test it right there, and you can see that it happened just as it needed to. Same thing with countdown, set for 2 seconds later, action set to the correct playlist, the correct item, test, boom, there we go. Okay, so the next thing is going to be the macro is going to set up the countdown screens. All right, like I said, this will all happen automatically based on timers. So let's see how the go to next timer works. So we have this slide right here, which appears in the background, which you can see right here. We have, that would be foreground, that would be background. So that's what background looks like. This is what foreground looks like. Background right here, it's gonna set to 773 seconds before it goes to the next slide. So essentially a go to next timer. All right, since this one is placed in the foreground, as soon as this is over, this is essentially a non-looping video. It's just a 2-minute countdown. We want it to be in the foreground, and the go to next timer is set to 0, meaning that at the end of the video, it's just gonna go straight to the next thing, which will be a worship macro. One thing to note is the nameplates. So anytime anybody comes up for the first time, so in our case, it'll be Quentin. When we first go into the very first worship song, we're gonna see Quentin's face very first as soon as we turn on the cameras. So we're gonna wanna throw up Quentin's nameplate as soon as you can see him, okay? So anytime anybody comes up for the very first time that day, we're gonna give them a nameplate. Once it's over, you can clear it. The next one we would wanna do is during the welcome, right? If Jeff is given the welcome, we're gonna throw up the Jeff nameplate, and there you go. And that just kind of gives the live stream and the projectors a little bit of information about who's talking without them having to introduce themselves. Then we run our tracks over MIDI, so as long as there is a backing track for these songs, all you gotta do is just hang out and let the MIDI take care of all the lyrics. If there is no backing track, obviously you gotta click through each slide and just be ahead of the singers so that they can see what's coming up and the congregation knows what's coming next. All right, so we have 2 worship songs. We go into the welcome here. So essentially that's just gonna, for the stage display, be whatever message that the speaker needs. The next thing would be any kind of picture we wanna show during that welcome. So if we wanna say, hey, if you're new here, grab that card. So if we wanna put that on the live stream projectors, we can very quickly just throw up an LED view and that'll show it there, just so we can show people what that looks like. And then we can have any other media in here we want. All right, no macro on this. It's just pulling exactly everything from the previous welcome. All right, so then next you're gonna see a green macro on the video announcements. The green macro is our videos macro. So if I click that right there, we're gonna see it go there. Okay, LED wall and live stream are gonna get the full announcements. Stage display is gonna look just like LED wall and live stream, except for it has a countdown, so that whoever's on stage can see how long is left before they're back up. Okay, then after that, there's a 0 go to next timer. The media is in the foreground, so after the video is over, 0 seconds, it's gonna go straight to that logo. All right, that's when we're gonna get ready to do the call to generosity. We're gonna let everyone give, and then we are going to go back into a worship song. Right, so as long as there's a backing track, MIDI's gonna take care of all of that for us. All right, let's go into the sermon. The very first thing you're gonna see in the sermon, in this case, is the logo. Sometimes it's going to be the sermon series, graphic, whatever it may be. It's gonna need that sermon slides macro. All right, so that's gonna be pretty much just like the worship macro, except the stage display is gonna look like the LED wall, so that whoever's preaching can see exactly what the LED wall is seeing without having to turn around. All right, so as we kind of punch through this, the pastor will have control over their own slides in most cases. So really it should be very easy. We just need to make sure that the macros are correct, and then we'll throw up some props as we go. All right, so we have a video here, video macro on that, changing that there. Right, so this video is playing in the background. This video could actually play in the foreground, and then we would want to set that go to next timer to 0. All right, so and then we would just re-click that, and then that's all going to happen correctly. All right, at the end of that video, it's going to go straight back to the logo. That way, we don't have to just jump straight into another topic if the preacher wants to, you know, kind of capitalize on whatever happened in that video, whatever he wants to say there before going on to the next subject. All right, so then we have these. So you're going to see that the LED wall, everybody in the room is going to be able to see that full screen graphic. For the live stream and projectors, we want to add a little bit of information there. So in this instance, we're just going to add slides with text. That's going to allow them to see whatever is placed in that slide. So if we go to edit slide, the slide notes are right here. Okay, just like we talked about in props. So yeah, you can kind of refer to the props video for anything that we would do differently here. Sometimes we're going to throw up scriptures. As you can see, they'll be very obvious. We'll have the scripture title right there, and then the actual scripture there. And then sometimes we're going to want to throw up, let's say this was something that the pastor was really trying to bring home. We want to just show that LED view just very briefly. They're still going to hear the audio behind it, but we just want to show that there. Then all we got to do is clear it, and we're good to go. Just a thing to note is that when we're throwing up props like this, while the pastor is reading them, we want it to be there. But as soon as it's done, we want it to go away. That keeps it professional and non-distracting. Same thing with any slides with text, right? He makes his point, and then he's going to kind of dig into it a little bit. We can go ahead and clear it. All right, so we don't want to leave it up more than, 10, 15 seconds or so. Okay,